Welcome back everybody. Last appointment, I suppose, of the road to Le Mans. There was still a chapter not covered before the arrival of the hypercars period. So I wanted to condense ish 2006 2014. Also because we are racing the 2015 WEC Championship in a more broader way, and so I did want to at least cover what was the period with the arrival of the modern Barchettas LMP1 after the Ferraris 333, after the Riley and Scott, and so on. And so we are here with some fast LMP2 cars and LMP1 cars like the Audis, like the MG Lolas, the Gibson Zytek prototypes, and on and on. And the version of Le Mans is the 2012, available on the web. Race department, racing, you find it very easily, free, obviously. And I must say thanks, first of all, many thanks to the modders, developers, programmers for creating such an incredible amount of cars and tracks and version and layouts and so on, because I fear that this chapter will conclude what is the last reference from a technical decade point of view. So everything that happened from the modern Barchettas, modern open-top prototypes, the arrival of the closed roof prototypes, in between light open cockpit prototypes, or the first arrival of LMP2 manufacturers like Gibson, Zytek, Oreca, and so on, that would have finally put their names on their cars, not just building cars for someone else, plus the GT category that moved from, if you remember the BPR with saloon cars, sports car, race streamed for endurance races and sports races. Then manufacturers started to develop specific models already thought for racing. And finally we arrive here in the mid of the year 2000s and onwards with big monsters readapted from that era, or simply built from scratch to be competitive here. I've not collected all the GT, LMP1, LMP2 and GT2 cars overall. I've just selected winners, some runners up of each edition, each class, and were not easy findable winners or runners up. I decided to put at least that car with some livery on track, and this is for the episode of today. There are two chapters that I cannot cover so far, and then I'm starting and preparing my luggage for the real Le Mans, so if I will succeed to make them work before me leaving Italy, I will do it instead. We will have a look afterwards to those chapters. The first one is the pre-war, Second World War editions, because I haven't found for GTR2 Power and Glory or rFactor too many cars and too many solutions for the pre-50s era, unluckily, because I wanted to test anyway myself with cars so old but so full of fashion. I mean, they would have deserved a complete chapter for 23 to 53-ish to be covered, like the pioneering years of Le Mans and in general of endurance races. And I apologize for this, but really not finding anything more on the web. The second decade not covered is the prototypes pre-Group C era, together with Group 5 category, because if you remember, we have seen the GTs of the 50s, the GTs prototypes improved in the 60s, the specific prototypes in the 70s. I'm conscious to have missed so far the petrol crisis era up to the arrival of the Group C. And that era was more or less running between 73 to 1980, 81. That unluckily I cannot cover because the mod found doesn't work on my computer, where we had many privateers participating at Le Mans or in endurance world, like Jean Rondeau, to name maybe the most famous and the most successful one, that won the 24H of Le Mans in 1980 with a stunning and heroic resistance with slick tires on a wet surface, while at the back there was someone named Jackie X coming back with a remontada recharge with a Porsche, official Porsche. So that period of privateers with cars like the Alba, the first Saubers, the URRD, there were many small manufacturers that had an outlook, an output, thanks to the 24 hours of Le Mans. In the period where the Group 5 was finishing its era after the petrol crisis of the 70s, where at the beginning of the 70s prototypes like the Porsche 917K or L or the Ferraris 512 Codalunga were too expensive given the world crisis for petrol, and so manufacturers opted to invest into small GT cars, well prepared and well developed, up to the point where, to be fair, there was anyway quite a distance between the saloon car like a Porsche 911, like a Ford Capri, like a BMW Series 3, compared to their counterparts on track. The Group 5 was absolutely stunning, scary, was, I would say, almost like the Can-Am for the prototypes between the 60s and the 70s. Few pages of rule books, of guidelines, and the rest was absolutely craziness. So I want to leave you a link in the description about the Group 5 era, very well made and very well deserving a bit of lecture or watching time. I promise I will find a way, a workaround to make that era work. Maybe it will be a special 24 minutes chapter after my return from Le Mans. And today, so we go with the last decade before the hypercars-ish, with all the winning cars for each class, LMP1, P2, GT1 and GT2. And as said, you will not find the Ferrari F550 Maranello, for example. You will not find the Maserati MC12 as another example, but you will find all that I literally did dig on the web to make this last decade before the hybrid era-ish how was, and that will in some way complete the last famous and effective chapter for Le Mans seen on our screens. Then after my return from the 24 hours we will face the continuation of the WEC theme, the Around the World in 24 hours of the 70s and so on, and we'll find then maybe some here and there spots for what is the missing decade, especially the Group 5 combined with the privateers era for Le Mans. To me is very important, but unluckily it doesn't work. So far this is what I've been capable to put together. So let's go on track to see the cars selection for today, then the qualifying, run with a accelerated time, and then the 24 minutes race. See you. And for this last selection, for the topic, the theme about going together decade by decade, more or less, into the 24 hours of Le Mans that will occur finally this week. I start from the bottom this time, and we have some LMP2 and LMP1 cars. I've kept the original nomenclature, P2, LMP2, P1, LMP1, etc. But as an average, they talk about the same language. So we start from the Gibson of the Iota Sport of the year 2015. We have raced with the Sarthe Racing livery this car at the A1 ring in Austria in the WEC appointment number 3. Then an LMP1 from the year 2012, the Pescarolo team Dome S102, that was and is a tiny historic Japanese manufacturer. This time had a car with a JAD V8 3.5 liters. At the wheel, if I'm not wrong, there was the trio of Sébastien Bourdais, Nicolas Minassian and Mr. Ara-san from Japan. The car was absolutely beautiful and run by the historic Pescarolo team. Back to LMP2. Greaves Motorsport will bring a Zytek Z11SN, not dissimilar to the Gibson, because that was the way to produce open cockpit prototypes back in those years. But remember that Zytek is a company under the ownership of Gibson Technology, so apart from the name, the people behind is mainly the same equipe. Still in LMP2 category, Porsche in some years did bring a winning RS Spider or Speeder Evo, year 2008 from the Essex LMP2, another privateer, Van Merkenstein, I hope to pronounce the name correctly, Motorsport, with this beautiful and lovely paint scheme. Morgan, year 2013, Oak Racing, or OAK, again with a very diffused Nissan 4.5 liters petrol engine naturally aspirated V8. Lola with the beautiful MG EX257, a 2 liters prototype, turbo powered, very tiny but very powerful, with the MG logos, an historic one, but if you read behind the lines in some way, nowadays MG is owned by a Far East conglomerate of investors. I don't remember all the details. They do electric cars, SUV nowadays, if I'm not wrong. Not anymore any relation, let's say, with the historic MG brand we have seen in the past, in the 50s and the 60s and the 70s. The paint scheme was absolutely beautiful with this Hot Wheels combination together with the green and black of the MG, still in LMP2 category. Lola did bring the BO542 year 2007 with the Bilmi Motorsport. At the wheel there was an American guy and 2 British drivers. Last LMP2 is the Honda. I name it Honda because anyway the HPT, the Honda Performance Development, is a branch of Honda. Sarthe Racing, if you remember, we've raced, as said, the Gibson in Austria. This time we'll come with another paint scheme with a relentless energy drink. As said, the year was the 2010. If not said, sorry, was meant to be said initially. We start then with LMP1 category, starting from the first winning Toyota at Le Mans, the TS040 Hybrid year 2014, very well known I think nowadays. Peugeot from year 2009 did bring the beautiful 908 HDI FAP or FAP technology with the turbo diesel technology at the back. Pescarolo in the year 2005 did bring none less than Sébastien Loeb, 9 times world champion for the WRC championship. He was racing a full French equipe with Mr. Helary and Ayari, sorry for my pronunciation, the famous PlayStation endorsed paint scheme seen especially on Gran Turismo 4. That was the display for Gran Turismo 4, arrived second in that year, just behind the all-conquering Audi. Lola, with the Team Rebellion, year 2012, embracing the Lotus paint scheme that in 2012 was winning with Kimi Raikkonen the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix and scoring many points and many podiums. The beautiful Swiss equipe did race with a Lola B1260 powered by a Toyota 3.4 liters V8 turbo engine. Beautiful indeed, resembling a bit the John Player Special Lotus paint scheme of the 80s and the 70s. 1 year before, still Rebellion, still Lola, but the model is the B1060, a different paint scheme this time, still a Toyota V8 3.4 liters turbocharged petrol engine. We go back to 2009 with the Lola Aston Martin, the DBR, beautiful indeed with the famous Gulf livery. Was a Lola chassis with an Aston Martin 6 liters V12 engine, the same mounted on the Aston Martin Vantage. Finally, we close the chapter of the LMP1 with all the most recent before the hybrid era, the R18 TDI, I'm sure doesn't need presentations, as well as the R18 e-tron 4 from the year 2012, the R15 TDI year 2009, back was again an open cockpit car, beautiful indeed. And finally, we have 3 selections. From 2006, the R10 TDI with Frank Bila, Emanuele Pirro and Marco Ferner at the wheel. Year 2007, under the Audi Sport North America LMP1, again with Bila, Pirro and Marco Werner, back then running the American Le Mans series. 2008, same model with a different paint scheme, still winning at Le Mans, this time with Rinaldo Capello, Tom Christensen, Mr. Le Mans, and Alan McNish. There was an LMP2 missing, and I see now there is a mistake here without the LMP2 nomenclature. No worries, the Star Wars Motorsport did race an Honda Power Development HPD ARX03 model, powered by the usual 2.8 liters V8 turbocharged by the Japanese giant. It's now time for the GTE Pro. We have 2 Ferraris, 2012, the AF Corse Vilander, Fisichella and Gian Maria Bruni at the wheel. The model is the Ferrari F458 Italia. And then, with the same equipe, another winning year coming from 2014. Porsche will bring the 911 RSR GT3 of the IMSA Performance Matmut, or Matmat, I don't know the right pronunciation. A beautiful monster indeed. Corvette from 2 winning years, 2011 with the Larbre competition equipe running the winning trio Canal, Gardel, Bornhauser, and with the same equipe but with Pedro Lamy, Canal and Bornhauser, the year was the 2012. Aston Martin from the year 2013 and 2014 with the V8 Vantage model. Let me spend 2 words more on the 2013 model because it is not, like many other cars seen in this selection, a winning car of Le Mans in class or overall, not even a runner-up car, but because 10 years ago we have lost a true professional driver, very quick and a very petrol head, if I can say so, despite not knowing him, but just reading here and there all the witness we have still to rely on. 10 years ago at Le Mans there was the last fatal accident during race day. The person behind the wheel was Allan Simonsen, the Danish driver, together with another Danish equipe with Nygaard and Poulsen. Luckily Simonsen suffered fatal injuries in a very terminal and terrible crash. So after 10 years to me was mandatory to race this car, try to bring the car at the end of the race as Simonsen, and the teammates would have deserved, especially Allan. Was maybe pure casualty, maybe after 10 years I'm closing a personal circle, I don't know. The 2013 edition of Le Mans was the first I've ever watched live on the WEC app on my smartphone, and was very terrific to send the signal to the main TV at home to say, oh, this year I will enjoy very much the 24 hours of Le Mans finally, or instead of just watching highlights or recording of the past. And instead my baptism with Le Mans watched live, like I did since 2013 onwards, has been luckily very touching, very sad. There was a fair message from the Le Mans 24 Hours organization, the ACO, Automobile Club de l'Ouest, on keeping the Danish flag half set up on the pole. And Tom Christensen, after winning this edition, dedicated the win to Allan Simonsen and his family. But nothing was anyway strong enough to bring back Simonsen on this planet. I wanted to tribute to Allan 10 years after, something that has left not deletable mark into my life. We go then to 2014 with the same car, the Gulf sponsorship. Still the same Aston Martin V8 Vantage, this time with Hanson, Poulsen and Stanaway, the Australian ace. Another Porsche from the year 2013, the Porsche AG Team Montey, with Romain Dumas, Lieb and Litz at the wheel. Year 2009, the Porsche is still a Porsche, but a 997 Evolution, still of the team Matmut or Matmat. Penots, I've just found a 97 colored model, was a bit better than the grey one seen so far. I wanted to have it also because, as said, they are all almost winning cars of their classes or winning overall. Ferrari, year 2008 and 9, Racing Competizione, did quite a tremendous job with Jamie Melo, Mika Salo and Gian-Maria Bruni again. The following year, similar car. I've just found Melo and Kaffer with a car resembling the 2009 edition. Last cars, a GT1 Chevrolet Corvette from the year 2011. Here we are, beautiful indeed, with Beretta, Milner and Antonio Garcia or Garcia at the wheel. A few years before, we start with 2006. Corvette Racing was racing the C6, one of the first Evolution, the famous yellow CompuWare sponsored. Magnussen, Jan the father, Olivier Beretta, Olivier Gavin or Gavin at the wheel, the year 2009, a bit of Evolution for the American Monster, O'Connell, Magnussen, and I cannot read the name, sorry, in Spanish. No, unluckily I cannot. Sorry. We'll come up with the classification. Aston Martin DBR9, year 2007 and 2008, with David Brabham, Richard Rydell and Darren Turner. And a few years after, the finally arrived Gulf sponsorship, with again David Brabham, Antonio Garcia and Darren Turner. Then, because this year there will be the Garage 56 special participation, this year will happen with a next-gen NASCAR car. I took the opportunity to go back a bit with memory about the Garage 56 that always allows a special car to run Le Mans. I have found many Delta Wings here and there, luckily not the 2012 original edition, the black one with the Nissan sponsorship, because it was a Nissan endorsement. So I got some strange car that to me was a nice experiment. I did like the idea to have a decent top horsepower with a very light chassis, basically weighting half of, and less than half, of a prototype of a GT and so on, with an engine designed accordingly. So just between a 1.6 liter and 1.9 liter turbo petrol engine combined with a chassis weighing 450 kilograms or something like that. So really a nice experiment, because at the end for a race car it's just about how many horsepower you have combined with the weight. So I would say technically on paper 500 horsepower on 1000 kilograms should equal 250 horsepower on a 500 kilograms chassis in theory. This car in particular, maybe we will drive it sooner or later, I've tried offline, has a strange but effective way to corner despite the squeezed front axle. I was hoping to find something different. I did it for the Garage 56 opportunity started at Le Mans in 2012. Yes, maybe one day we will test this car. You can really attack the cornering thanks to the tiny front end, and then I would say go flat out because of the huge footprint with the rear. So it's a car almost impossible to spin, but we will go back to this matter in the next weeks. So I have found a Delta Wing racing car with this paint scheme, with this one, beautiful, and with this one, the Spirit of America. They come from 13, 14, 15, 2016 years. From 2014 I have also found a different paint scheme. I think the one that followed the usual black base with Nissan Nismo painted in white and red, and with the open top cockpit. Remember that behind this car there is also Don Penot's, in general Penot's company. As said, I think was absolutely car to have, because anyway marked a particular moment in history about motorsport. And remember that after the first years of experiment in 2015 there was also the Nissan project for Le Mans, the engine mounted at the front and with the front traction coming from the front axle. We will drive too also that car, but there will be different episodes, different themes I will show you in the next weeks. That's all on the Circuit de la Sarthe 2012 with a 24 minutes race, 46 contenders. Let's go. Fine, qualification running on the go. There is a dominance as expected by Audi and Peugeot, and with the Toyota sneaking inside nice. Porsche Spider or Spider in the mix. Then some LMP1 and LMP2 privateers like the Lola Aston Martin, the Pescarolo C60, the Lola MG EX257, or the Lolas of the Rebellion Racing, the LMP1. There is a Delta Wing in the top 20, nice. The Saline was the first GT running. So we will face, together with the Delta Wings, some laps here and there. And we will start from the back, obviously. Aston Martin of our teammates, not very fast, P42. Let's see if there's another Aston Martin. Yes, Brabham, Rydell, Turner, a bit better, 407. Much better, Brabham, Garcia, Turner, and yes, the others are LMP. I'm happy for a Delta Wing buried in the first page, but that's all. We can maybe, yes, stop the accelerated time, save the game, continue to race. This is the page 1 with 24 minutes, 5 minutes to do the pace lap, and then the rest will be the buffer to come back to the pit. Page number 1, page number 2 with a front engine mounted V8 heavy engine and rear traction axle thrusting the car. The majority of the weight is on the front end, so very stiff, and very smooth instead the rear end to counterbalance the strange type of weight with a front mounted engine and a rear axle. That's it. And here we are, last chicane, full throttle. Let's start the last 24 minutes of Le Mans, with the last decade involved into this brief storytelling about what was the technological side of Le Mans and of the classes. There was a delta wing already retired. Catherine leg was spinning. Yes, maybe we can attack the first Corvette here at Tertre Rouge. Say hello and thank you to Alan Simonsen for what showed during his luckily short career. Ciao Alan. Mulsanne Straight already at the back of Narak Bure with the Matmut Porsche. Now let's find to pass Hensler Lieben-Litz, maybe with a bit of slipstream. Before the first chicane, it's clean and professional pass. Outside the Corvette, long Narak Pilet, themselves at the back of Hanson Poulsen, our teammates. And now chasing Bruni Fisichella and Dumas Lieblitz, respectively Ferrari and Porsche, and the last leg of Mulsanne before the Mulsanne corner. Risky. Indianapolis is almost safe. Arnage. Now down to the Porsche curves and the new Maison Blanche complex of corners. Pure poetry. While in the lead, Buemi Davidson scored the lap time. There is a Corvette. And we pass also Bruno Fisichella Villander. Touched. How broken is the car? Not too much, let's go. We lost the momentum, we were almost already top leaders GT. There was a Ferrari stopping, the one that created the bottleneck before, a bit here and there in the last corner. Step number 2. So here we are with the Dunlop chicane after the Dunlop corner. The new complex of S's. Much different from the past. Tête Rouge already widened up back in the 90s with more space available as a runoff area, sorry, and maybe that was also the thing that luckily didn't help Stevenson to survive. Angle of impact was very unfortunate for the young Danish. We repass Dumas lead leads and back to chase Bruni physical. Beautiful. So I was trying to defend from Dumas. Time to light up the headlights, as by guidelines, rule book and so on, yellow for GTs, white for LMP. It will maybe be overlapped by LeMans prototypes in a couple of laps, while the evening and the night are approaching. Very wide and very long with the brake point, but obviously, as every front-mounted engine car is a bit easier to control in case of emergency, and we are going to be passed by the delta wing, I suppose. Before Indianapolis. What a pity for the time lost before. Sorry, but for the erratic AI that sometimes enters in your life and the wrong racing line, I did prefer to lose a bit of time with the Porsche and Maison Blanche complex. Very long. Verstappen style, like yesterday at the Spanish Grand Prix, not because of the level of driving, his age is much better than me. Just to say that I didn't stay between the lines. And plus, obviously, with a front engine mounted you can brake also much more inside the cornering action, but obviously you are a bit slower while exiting corners. Nonetheless, Corvette and Aston Martin demonstrated that a winning car can be also a front-mounted engine, but we pass Bruno Fisichella while having in front of us Melo Salo, with another Ferrari, Caffer Melo Salo. Let's go for it. Okay, I think we are at the top of the GTEM category, hopefully, but not of the GTE Pro, because I read, for example, P25, Beretta, Olivier Gadi with Corvette are, in my opinion, in the league of GTs, but let's go on in the night with this plan. And especially in this version of Le Mans 2012, the graphic is sometimes a bit dizzy. The 91-96 edition of Virtual Le Mans is much more visible from a set of signs and lights here and there. Nowadays is more and more illuminated, not only Arnage but many other sections of the track. I don't know if does exist a more recent version. Also the pit area normally is turned on like if it was daylight, not here. So sometimes I risk to be in the middle of nowhere. Very far from the 4 minutes 05, 06 I was trying to figure as a possible lap time. And you can be surprised the lack of points to keep in mind for braking and accelerating and cornering. But I like very much what is sometimes the loneliness of driving alone by night in the endurance world. Even if sometimes it seems motionless. Here we are with the morning, coming very soon. Completely out of the line to allow the pass of a prototype. Picking up marbles and dirt maybe did affect my driving, while I think that apart from Collard Elgard just passed P26, I will not reach obviously Garcia Magnussen and the others. So it will be just a matter to conserve the position, hopefully until the end. And anyway, you will find a major consumption for front tires, given the majority of the weight put at the front. And I must take in consideration the factor, because the front end can't be used aggressively like before. Nonetheless, Bruno Fisichella P28 for 6 seconds, a decent amount to manage. Should be 2 laps again. Also, Julian Bailey is arriving at our back with the MG Lola, a small 75 kilograms if I'm not wrong, powered by a tiny 2 liters turbo. Here we are. Oh, finally a good speed and line entrance. The last chicanes, the 4 chicanes, definitely my personal best maybe cannot go below 420. I'm almost braking too early for the Dunlop chicane. Say driven a bit smoother, less aggressive, almost 1 second quicker than before despite tires reaching their cliff. here we are. There's an Audi overlapping us. We'll stay with her really a few seconds, then she will disappear. There's a retirement for Bleckemond and P25, so maybe we can gain a position if it is not the last lap. Yes, some position was gained. Personal best of 4:17, driving a bit more cautious. Okay, the race is over because there is a checkered flag, so it's Brabham Genet with the Peugeot 908 had won. We are getting Mr. Patton, the General Patton, I don't know, with the penalties, struggling to the end. And so we had Tom Christensen and McNish with the Audi passing us, but they were coming out from the pit maybe. Don't touch the grass, don't touch the curbs. What a bad last cornering. Bravo, no. Okay, finally a car issue. We will try a Gilles Villeneuve style to finish the race without the front left tire. I'm trying to stay in front of the penalties. This is a very sneaky attitude. What a hit against the Wilson. Okay, obviously. If you turn left, the weight goes to the front right. And it's easier. But when you have to turn right, incredibly weary pass with a bad move. Okay, luckily the others will go to the pit, but I'm not sure I will resist also in the chicanes. yes, maybe. Italian mafia style. This was a finish against Mr. Patton with the penalties, with a final drama unreal, but we managed to go home. So see you in the menu for the quick debrief. Good. So let's finish the race if it is needed, yes, with accelerated time. So the Peugeot 908 HDI FAP of Brabham Genève Wurz wins. Frank Biela, Emanuele Pirro, Marco Ferner second with the Audi R10. Buemi, Davidson, Lapierre, Toyota TS040. I like it. The first three positions, the podium, the virtual podium, is I would say representative of that era, of this era that we are affording today. And yes, maybe the three major brands that defined Le Mans in the recent period before the hypercars arrival. Then three Audis, Timo Bernhard, Dumas, Rockefeller, Fassler, Lotterer, Trelier. They were pole sitter and P2, if I'm not wrong. Still in the P10, in the first 10 positions, Charroux, Enge, Muke with the Aston Martin DBR, Biela, Pirro, Ferner, Capello, McNish, Christensen with the Audi R10 TDI, and then Miliani, Prost, Blekemolen, obviously the son of Alain Prost, with the Lola B2060 of the Rebellion Racing, yes. So that's it. Let's see who won the GT class. The Aston Martin of Brabham Garcia Turner, second the other Aston Martin of Brabham Rydell Turner, Dessalines, the first three positions. Happy to see the Delta Wing Motoyama Ordonez Rape P16. Then we get Samuel MP2s, then Garcia Magnussen GT1 Chevrolet Corvette, and us anyway winning the GTE Amateur with the Aston Martin V8 Vantage of Simonsen, Alan Simonsen. So very good, I would say. Very nice indeed to drive a GT. It all started with a Grand Tourer 250 GTO Ferrari homologated back in the 50s, moved then to prototypes in the 60s, in the 70s, that were the major force available, and they were, I would say, the concept around Le Mans, Daytona and Sebring and the World Sports Car Championship too, about building prototypes specific cars for long endurance races. In between all of this, all these shades, all these pieces and bits, one constant thing has been the Grand Tourers, always present since the beginning and still the backbone of privateers and of even the smallest race club in the world, up to this international stage. And yes, together or against GTs, at the end we have seen many changes between prototypes, fake GTs, fake normal tourers transformed into Group 5 monsters and so on. But I think that apart from this, above all, still remains what is an incredible race, an incredible concept that really brings all the good things of producing a car into a racing environment, and what comes out, the solution, the winning solution, then becomes, I would say, the passepartout to then sell the car on a daily basis on our market. So, thanks to Le Mans, Daytona, Sebring, in general, thanks to the endurance world combining GTs and prototypes or shades around these two concepts, in my humble opinion, we have seen the car as a concept being born, raising to fame and substituting an old concept of using animals to move around goods and people. Car has gone through petrol crisis, world wars, everything, COVID pandemic, but still the concept of enduring seems to almost be translated into long races raced to the fullest. But sometimes I feel that the endurance concept is something that is written inside our human biological essence, because you have a limited time frame to spend on Earth, and if you don't care about someone else's ideas, someone else's dogmas, someone else's impositions, if you endure all of this, you maybe get something special, because you discover something more about yourself and your life and the meaning of being alive. And I think that endurance world, given the strong challenge put on the table, even for the last classified car, last classified equipe, gives really the sense of all. Endure to the end and try to arrive as much as possible well at the end of your journey. Ladies and gentlemen, the road to Le Mans I think will finish here, unless I will produce a bonus appointment with the mods not working so far. But thank you very much for watching. Merci beaucoup. Obrigado. Muchas gracias. Dankeschön and arigato, arigato, arigato. Stay very well. Endure in your life, endure in your journey, and always stay into keen racing, regardless if it is racing in life on a racetrack or just to get the next commuter bus for your daily job. Thank you very much again for watching and for staying with me, and for pushing the like button, for pushing on the subscription. You've been very kind, and you are welcomed regardless if you are new or old to this iKeysRacing community channel. As said, maybe this will be the last episode until my return from the 24 hours of Le Mans, so maybe next week. I've tried to prepare everything as much as possible prior to the race. Every beautiful story must end sooner or later. So that's it, and let's hope to find ourselves as soon as possible again on iKeysRacing channel. I will try also by night to publish everything I get from Le Mans, from the racetrack and so on, but I don't want to give guarantees like it has been for Daytona or Sebring, because I don't know how it will be. I think it will be a great party, sure. I think it will be a great journey, sure. I think it will be something to tell, sure. But I'm just waiting to start the journey and possibly come back. Thank you very much. Stay very well. Best wishes to you all and to your beloved. From Marco, from Monza, and from the virtual Le Mans. Ciao. See you very soon. Bye. Ciao.